Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's daily recap. I'm Evan Lazarus. I'm CEO of T3 Live. And before we start, I want to call your attention to the Finance Festival. We are almost out of rooms at the Mayfair Hotel, which is where we are holding the event. We just locked up another block of rooms at a venue down the street, the Sinesta, but hurry because this event is going to be sold out real fast. And the early bird discount ends September 15th. So if you haven't checked it out, t3live.com/festival. We are looking forward to, I'm looking forward to this bull-bear debate Saturday morning, November 7th, between famed economist John Malden and Jeff Salt, who is the CIO of Raymond James. Definitely going to be a really, really interesting dynamic, and then we're going to move into the future of online investing, a panel discussion with executives from a lot of the larger online brokerage firms, moderated by Michael Santoli, who's editor of Yahoo Finance. And it's just going to get better and better and better. Saturday afternoon, as we go into breakout sessions, you're going to see a lot of more granular looks at technicals and the markets and expectations on the Fed. So it's really a very broad stroke here in terms of financial content from really, really what I believe to be some of the best in the business. And on Saturday night, obviously we're going to party. And actually we're going to party here at this beautiful rooftop. And on Sunday we're going to continue the discussion with Mark Dow and Barry Ritholtz and Ivan Zinn and again, some amazingly talented people. So make sure you lock this up soon because I'm going to tell you it's going to be going fast. If you go to t3live.com/festival, all the information's there, and you can see our early bird pricing only will go till September 15th. And we may not even have any hotel rooms left by then. So t3live.com/festival. All right, let's talk about today's price action. And the dialogue continues, and it's a very challenging market. As I think about what my commentary going into any video, whether it's a daily recap, a morning call, any of my off the charts nightly videos, I always come into it thinking, what interesting point can I make? What can I talk about that maybe I haven't discussed? Whether it's educational in nature or about anything relating to price action or movement. And unfortunately, I go into today and it's kind of just more of the same. Yes, we saw a little up move today. It was within Thursday's range, so not really much to talk about there in terms of price movement of significance. The market seems to be taking on some sort of wedging-like formation. Being sold and making, lower highs here. But it is erratic. Price movement seems to have a floor and a ceiling, and everything sort of in between is a wicked game of ping-pong in terms of buyers, sellers, from day to day, week to week. The headlines are even a ping-pong match. We go between Greece and China and Greece, and it's just the whole thing is just very, very perplexing and can be very frustrating for many traders. The best way to look at it, and it's the way I always look at it, is through the lens of price movement. The reality of it is, and I've said this unfortunately for months and months and months, you kind of have this very tight pattern, and it's got sort of this upper quadrant and this lower quadrant, and we've been trapped in this upper quadrant since basically January, and it's now August. So we could potentially spend, the better part, if not the entire year of 2015, in this range, in a very narrow range for the markets. That's certainly a challenging environment for any trader, swing trader, day trader, active market participant, active investor. Now, that being said, it's a market of stocks. So as we look around the horn, various stocks have different characteristics, personalities, stories, and you're seeing that there is no, you can't take a paintbrush and swipe it one way and say, it's a bullish environment. You can't take that paintbrush and say it's a bearish environment. It's a trading, choppy, very short term, very short time horizon environment. And that's just the nature of the way you have to approach this tape until such time that the market speaks to us and said something is changing. And we can do our very best to try to predict or time into when that change may occur. But going into right now, here, today, now, certainly a tough way to look at things. But as you go around, and you can look at various stocks in different sectors. Goldman has seen some selling as of late, snapping back here off the 200 EMA the last couple of days, but certainly making what is now lower highs, lower lows. The Apples of the world, acting really weak the last basic month, starting to really take a different shape and dynamic. Whereas, Google holding in post that Alphabet news, Netflix continues to, hold in this range. Even Amazon continues to hold into this range. Post earnings, again, we saw some selling, but from there it's been sort of a non-existent trade. Biotechs, as we look at the IBB, sitting on the lower end of the range, kind of holding support for now, but looking much weaker than they've looked historically. And even today, as the market was a positive day, the biotech index kind of still not performing all that well. So it is a very much still a mixed bag. And I said it last week, and I said it the week before, and I probably have said it 15 times before that. Tactical is the only way to approach this market. You're either going to be on the sidelines and you're going to be in cash until something changes, or you're going to approach this market with very short construct. You're going to know where you're entering, why you're entering. I've seen a lot of failed breakouts. Most notable this week, GoPro. What looked to be like a pattern setting up for, didn't mean to use that. A pattern that's setting up for higher prices didn't quite follow through, and you can kind of see it outlined here. We got that little breakout. I know probably sucked a lot of traders in, and then boom, failed breakout, and spitting everybody out to the downside. You saw that in what was probably the strongest stock on the board, Disney, at one point, and then basically getting haircut overnight. Shake Shack, haircut, in the last 3 days. So it is you got to be really selective, and it's kind of like stepping on walking through a minefield, landmines, and not that I've ever done that, but you got to be very careful with where you walk and where you step, and if you're jumping all over the place from day to day to day, it's going to be really easy in this tape, in this current environment, to get hurt. So, I think it's a risk on market. Protect, it's a protection mentality. Sometimes the best offense, the best offense is sometimes having a great defense, and that's the nature of what this market's giving us. So embrace it, enjoy it, and if you're having trouble with it, think about some of the things that I've said and how that may or may not apply to you. Because I certainly see it, everybody kind of has their own way of seeing it. I certainly see it through my own lens. I'm sure others, Scott, my colleagues, see it through their own unique lens. But at the end of the day, you can't really argue with sideways. And as we look at weekly charts, and I do that for sake of clarity, not a directional tape. It's been a very tight range. It's been this way for a long time. And we'll just, you just need to let this storm ride itself out. I don't think we're far away from getting some sort of range resolution here, but again, every time I've said that, it's been sort of I haven't really been right. So I'll kind of leave the predictions on the sidelines at this point, other than telling you at some point things will change. When, I can't tell you when, but I will let you know that something has changed when it has changed. All right, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and don't forget t3live.com/festival. I hope to see you down in Miami. It's going to be an awesome, awesome event. Take care.